At the company holiday party, neon lights flashed across the ballroom as my dad's boss, Mr. Walsh, lifted his glass right in front of 200 coworkers and smiled directly at me. "Congrats on the scholarship I recommended, Skylar. You earned every penny." I froze my drink, paused halfway to my lips. "What scholarship?" I whispered, barely audible over the music. The room fell silent as if someone had yanked the plug. Dad's face went rigid. Mom turned ghostly pale, gripping his arm so tightly that the champagne sloshed. Then Lauren, Mr. Walsh's secretary, who had been standing behind him with a clipboard, leaned in and whispered loud enough for the entire table to hear, "Wait. They didn't tell you." Every head snapped toward us. Phones paused mid-scroll. The DJ actually cut the beat. 200 pairs of eyes locked on me while my parents looked like they were facing a firing squad. That single sentence turned the happiest night of the year into the moment I realized my entire future had been quietly stolen, one subtle transfer at a time. By the time the lights came back up, I was no longer the broke college kid in a thrift store dress. I was the girl about to make them regret every single dollar. If your family ever hid money that was meant for you, drop the state you're watching from below. I've read every single one. And hit subscribe, because the next story will hit even closer to home. I left the party at 11 tires, screeching out of the downtown garage like I could outrun what had just happened. The drive back to my Orlando apartment took an hour and a half, but felt like minutes, every red light a chance for the words to sink deeper. By the time I slammed the door and kicked off my shoes, my hands wouldn't stop trembling. I dropped onto the couch, yanked my laptop from under a pile of textbooks, and logged into the employee family portal I hadn't touched since high school, the one Dad made me create just in case. I typed my old credentials wrong twice before the dashboard finally loaded. A banner flashed across the top, "Welcome, Skylar Brooks Dependent Scholarship Recipient." My stomach flipped. I clicked the notifications tab. Hundreds of unread emails. The first was dated June 14th, the week I walked across the stage in a borrowed cap and gown. Subject: Walsh Enterprises Full Ride Scholarship awarded, $250,000 deposited to parent managed trust. I scrolled faster. Another from August fall semester stipend, $25,000 processed. Another from January spring disbursement, $25,000 processed. Another from June summer living allowance, $15,000 processed. Year after year. I opened the account summary. Current balance $0. Total deposits $250,000 exactly. Total withdrawals 51. The transaction log hit like a punch to the gut. I clicked the first large one, $90,000 to Clearwater Ford, timestamped December 23rd last year. Memo: 2023 Mustang GT Premium, Noah Brooks final payment. I knew that car. Noah had posted it the second he drove it off the lot, blacked out rims, red calipers, caption screaming, "Big boy toy finally home." I had liked the photo out of habit. Next, $65,000 to Land Rover Tampa March this year. Memo: Range Rover Sport HSE Melanie Brooks cash purchase. Mom's early birthday gift to herself she bragged about at Easter, claiming it came from smart investing. Then 12 separate transfers to 3 credit card companies, all between $20,000 and $30,000, all labeled Dennis Brooks balance transfer or debt consolidation payment. 120,000 total wiped out in under 8 months. I kept scrolling, breath shallow. Smaller withdrawals appeared, 5,000 here, 8,000 there. Noah car insurance, 6-month policy. Melanie spa membership annual renewal. Dennis country club dues. Every time I thought it couldn't get worse, another line appeared. A $15,000 transfer from 7 days ago caught my eye. Memo: Noah Insurance Premium Collector Policy Upgrade. Collector policy. For the Mustang he drove daily to his mechanic job. I sank back, laptop burning my thighs. The screen reflected in the black window my face, pale eyes, wide mouth open like I was silently screaming. This wasn't a mistake. This wasn't, "We'll pay you back." This was systematic. Every semester, I worked doubles at the bookstore. Every time I ate plain rice for a week to cover rent, every time I skipped spring break trips because plane tickets were impossible. Every moment had been funded by money that was already mine. I refreshed the page to be sure. Still zero. I clicked the audit trail PDF. Every withdrawal signed electronically by Dennis Brooks or Melanie Brooks. Every single one. No co-signature required after the initial setup. No notification sent to me because the account was never in my name. I closed the lid and pressed my palms into my eyes until I saw stars. 51 lies. 51 decisions they made while I begged for gas money. 51 times they looked me in the face and said, "We're proud of you for doing it on your own." The microwave clock blinked 1:17 a.m. I reopened the laptop, took screenshots of everything, and emailed them to myself 3 times. Then I sat on the floor back against the couch, staring at the wall until the sun came up. They weren't done spending, and I wasn't done fighting. I dialed Gregory before the sun was fully up, phone pressed to my ear as I paced the tiny kitchen. He picked up on the third ring, his voice still thick with sleep. "Skylar. Everything okay?" I didn't waste time on small talk. "The scholarship you mentioned last night, what exactly did you recommend me for?" Pause, then the rustle of sheets. "The Walsh Enterprises Legacy Award. Full ride to any state school plus a $50,000 annual stipend. I put your name in 3 years ago when you aced those AP exams. Your dad said you were set on community college first, so we parked the money in a parent-managed trust until you transferred." "Why?" My grip tightened. "Because the account's empty, Gregory. $250,000 gone." Silence stretched long enough that I thought the call had dropped. Then a sharp inhale. "That's impossible. I signed the paperwork myself. Dennis told me every semester you were taking it slow and using the funds for living expenses. He sent thank you emails from your account." My blood turned to ice. What I have them right here," Gregory said, his voice hardening. "Forwarded progress reports, class schedules, even a thank you note with your signature." "Hold on." Keys clicked in the background. "There, Skylar is thriving at Valencia and plans to transfer next fall. Sent last spring." I closed my eyes, remembering the day Dad asked to borrow my laptop because his was acting up, how he'd sat at the desk for 20 minutes while I showered. Gregory's tone shifted to steel. "I'm pulling the full audit first thing Monday. If even 1 cent was misused, the foundation will handle it." I thanked him, hung up, and stared at the folder of printouts on the counter. Every lie now had a timestamp. I grabbed my keys. The drive to the Tampa suburbs took an hour and a half, I-4 traffic light for once. I didn't turn on music, didn't stop for coffee, just white-knuckled the wheel and rehearsed what I'd say when they tried to explain. By the time I pulled into the driveway, the sun was low and orange behind the palm trees. Mom was in the kitchen stirring something that smelled like garlic and tomato sauce. She looked up when the front door opened, smile freezing halfway. "Skylar, honey, what are you doing here?" Dad walked in from the living room, remote still in hand. Braves game paused on the 75-inch TV mounted above the fireplace. He stopped dead when he saw the thick folder in my arms. I didn't speak until the door clicked shut behind me. Then I dropped the stack on the island countertop, pages fanning out, bank statements, memos, signatures. Dad's face drained of color so fast I thought he might pass out. Mom's spoon clattered into the pot. I met their eyes, one then the other. Gregory just confirmed everything. 3 years, $250,000, 51 withdrawals, and every single one of you signed for. Dad opened his mouth, closed it, opened it again. "Sweetheart, we can explain." "No," I cut in, voice flat. "You don't get to call me that anymore. Start talking. Now." The remote slipped from his fingers and hit the tile with a crack that echoed through the sudden silence. I walked straight into the kitchen without a word and dropped the folder on the island so hard the silverware rattled. Mom spun from the stove wooden spoon, dripping red sauce onto the tile. Dad froze in the doorway, beer halfway to his mouth. Mom found her voice first. Skylar, what on earth? Sit, I said, my tone flat enough to cut glass. They sat. I flipped the folder open and spread the pages like a deck of cards, bank statements, transfer memos, signatures in Dad's sloppy scrawl and Mom's perfect cursive. 51 pieces of proof. Dad tried to laugh, but it died in his throat. It's not what it looks like. Then tell me what it is. I leaned on the counter, knuckles white. Because from here it looks like you drained every dollar of a $250,000 scholarship and turned it into a Mustang, an SUV, and a zero-balance credit card life. Mom's eyes filled fast. We only borrowed it, baby. Your father's cards were maxed after the medical bills 2 years ago. We were drowning. Borrowed, I echoed. There's no repayment schedule, no interest, no promissory note. Just 51 withdrawals and a balance of 0. Dad rubbed his temples. Noah needed a reliable car for work. The shop wouldn't promote him without one. We figured once you transferred to a 4-year, we'd move money back. Noah needed a $90,000 Mustang, I cut in. He's 26 and still lives above the garage. I needed textbooks I couldn't afford. Mom reached for my hand. I pulled back. We never meant to hurt you. We kept thinking next month we'd win it back at the casino or Dad's bonus would cover it. I slipped my phone from my pocket, hit record, and set it face up between us. The red light blinked. 38 minutes started counting. Dad noticed first. Turn that off. No, I said. Everything from now on is evidence. The garage door rumbled. Noah strolled in greasy work shirt, half untucked, keys spinning on his finger. He stopped when he saw us. What's with the intervention vibe? I slid the Mustang transfer across the island. Recognize this signature? He glanced, shrugged. Family money, family decisions. You weren't using it. I stared until he looked away. It literally had my name on the award letter. Not yours. Not theirs. Mine. Mom started sobbing quietly. Dad tried again. We can fix this. Sell the cars, take out a home equity loan, too late. My phone buzzed. A text from Lauren Gregory. Still has no idea. He thinks you're thriving. I'm so sorry. I turned the screen toward them so they could read it. Mom's sob turned into a gasp. Dad aged 10 years in 10 seconds. Noah finally spoke quieter. You're really doing this? Over money, over my future, I corrected. Over every shift I worked while you posted car pics. Over every lie you let me believe. Dad stood chair scraping. If you push this, you'll destroy the whole family. I stopped the recording, slipped the phone into my pocket, and looked him dead in the eye. The internal audit starts Monday. Have a nice weekend. I grabbed my keys and walked out. The door slammed behind me like a judge's gavel. 2 weeks later, I stepped off the elevator onto the executive floor, the same one where holiday decorations still hung half-heartedly from December. The foundation conference room smelled of fresh coffee and printer toner. Ms. Chen, the lead counsel, sat at the head with a stack of fresh legal pads. Mr. Alvarez from HR had his laptop open to a spreadsheet titled Brooks Disbursement Review. Lauren hovered by the credenza, twisting a paperclip into knots. I placed a slim flash drive on the table instead of paper this time. Everything's digital, encrypted. 51 transactions, full metadata, blockchain verified, timestamps from the bank. Ms. Chen plugged it in. The wall screen lit up with a timeline, each withdrawal, a red bar, each deposit, a thin green line that never appeared again. She zoomed in on the first cluster. Clearwater Ford, 90,000. Land Rover, Tampa, 65. 12 credit card payoffs averaging 10 grand each. Lauren spoke without looking up. I approved the routing numbers myself. They said it was for tuition and housing. Mr. Alvarez clicked another tab. We pulled the forged progress reports. Same IP address as Dennis's work computer. Same typing patterns. Even the thank you emails match his keystroke log. The door swung open hard enough to bounce off the wall. Gregory strode in wearing golf attire clearly pulled from the course. His face went from curious to thundercloud in 3 seconds flat. He didn't sit. "Show me the worst one," he said. I clicked. A $15,000 transfer popped up dated exactly 1 week after the holiday party. Recipient Collector Car Insurance LLC. Policyholder Noah Brooks. Vehicle 2023 Mustang GT Premium. Gregory's jaw flexed. That's the car he parks in visitor parking every Friday to show off. He turned to the lawyer. "What are our options?" "Full restitution plus 15% penalty interest from the date of the first withdrawal and immediate termination with cause. We can also file with the state attorney for misappropriation of scholarship funds." Gregory rubbed his temples. "Do it. All of it." He looked at HR. "Effective immediately, Dennis Brooks is on unpaid suspension. Security is changing his keycard as we speak. His final paycheck will reflect a negative balance until the debt is settled." Mr. Alvarez typed so fast the keyboard clacked like rain on a tin roof. Gregory finally sat elbows on the table staring at the screen, where the red bars climbed like a fever chart. "I wrote the recommendation letter myself. Told the board she was the brightest kid I'd ever met. And they turned it into a down payment on a sports car." Lauren's voice cracked. "I should have caught it. I saw the memos. I just trusted them." Gregory's eyes softened for the first time. We all did. He reached across and ejected the drive, handing it back to me. "This stays with you. Whatever they owe the foundation pays you first, then collects from them. Consider it a new award. Clean slate." Ms. Chen slid a document across. "Sign here. It's a direct restitution agreement. They get 60 days before we garnish wages and freeze assets." I signed without hesitation. The pen scratched loudly in the silence. Gregory stood again, this time facing the window that overlooked the parking garage. Dad's sedan sat in his usual spot, sun glinting off the hood. Gregory watched it for a long moment. Then he turned to the room. "Tell Dennis I want him in this office tomorrow morning. Alone. 9 sharp." He looked at me last. "You did the right thing, Skylar. I'm proud of you." The words hit harder than any apology. I nodded once and walked out the flash drive, heavy in my pocket like a loaded gun. Gregory stared after me, then back at the screen where the final red bar pulsed. "You used the girl's scholarship to buy your oldest son a Mustang." He didn't wait for an answer no one could give. 5 months later, the company picnic sprawled across the lakeside field, checkered tablecloths flapping in the breeze, kids chasing frisbees while speakers blasted classic rock. I wore sunglasses and a plain white tee, blending into the crowd until I climbed the small wooden platform by the volleyball net. Microphone feedback screeched. 200 faces turned. I held up a single white envelope with the foundation seal already broken. "Most of you remember the holiday party," I began, voice carrying over the sudden quiet. "Tonight, I have the final numbers." I pulled out the letter and read aloud. Total restitution owed $287,000. Principal, compounded interest, administrative fees, and legal costs. Payment due in full within 60 days. Failure to comply triggers 25% wage garnishment, asset liens, and credit reporting. A collective inhale sucked the air out of the field. Dad stood by the grill spatula, frozen mid-flip burger blackening unnoticed. Mom clutched a folding chair so hard the metal groaned. Noah leaned against the beer tent, red Solo cup crushed in his fist. I continued. Vehicles purchased with scholarship funds will be repossessed within 14 days unless paid in cash. Same for any luxury items over $10,000. Mom's knees buckled. She collapsed straight into the grass lemonade spilling across her sundress. A coworker dropped to help her while another fanned her face with a paper plate. Noah charged forward. "This is bullshit," he shouted loud enough for the far tents to hear. "You're airing family laundry in front of his entire company." Gregory appeared from the main tent, no tie sleeves rolled, face carved from granite. He took the mic from my hand without asking. "Dennis Brooks," he announced, voice booming across the water. "You're terminated effective immediately. Security will escort you to your desk to collect personal items. Your badge expires in 5 minutes." 2 guards materialized beside Dad. The spatula clattered to the ground. Employees formed a silent ring, phones up, recording every second. Lauren stood dead center, camera steady in landscape. Noah tried to push through. "You can't do this?" Gregory didn't blink. "I just did." Dad's shoulders sagged. One guard took his arm. He didn't resist. Mom was half carried to a golf cart, still dazed, sundress stained yellow. I stepped back to the mic. 60 days, I repeated. After that, 25% of every paycheck goes straight to the foundation until the balance is zero. Noah spun toward me, veins bulging. "You think this makes you a hero? You just destroyed our parents." I met his eyes. "You destroyed my future the day you signed for that car." The DJ killed the music completely. Even the kids stopped running. Gregory raised a hand to security. They moved in. Noah backed up, chest heaving, until he bumped into the beer tent. Cups toppled, foam pooling at his feet. Lauren zoomed in as Dad was led past the volleyball nets, past the bounce house, past every coworker he'd known for decades. I folded the letter, slipped it into my pocket, and walked off the stage. The crowd parted without a word. Gregory caught up halfway to the parking lot. "You okay?" I nodded once. "Getting there." He watched the golf cart disappear around the bend. Dad's head bowed. Mom slumped against the seat. "They'll never work in this industry again," he said quietly. "Good," I answered. Lauren lowered her phone screen, still recording. "It's already trending on the company's Slack," she whispered. #justice for Skylar. I didn't smile. I just kept walking, the envelope heavy against my hip, the weight finally shifting to where it belonged. Gregory looked back at the field one last time. "Pay $287,000 in 60 days, or wage garnishment of 25% begins." He didn't need the mic. The silence carried it just fine. When summer rolled around again, the neighborhood looked smaller, the palm trees thinner, the mailboxes rustier. I drove past the old house on my way to the airport, windows down, radio off. A bright orange sticker plastered the garage door, "Repossessed property of Alley Financial." Mom's Range Rover was gone, replaced by a tow truck indentation in the driveway gravel. 3 houses down, Noah's apartment complex displayed a yellow lien notice taped to the community board. The Mustang sat on cinder blocks in the guest lot, wheels missing a boot clamped to the frame. A handwritten sign on the windshield read, "Do not tow, dispute in progress." Someone had keyed the hood anyway. Dad had been out of work 12 months straight. His LinkedIn still listed Walsh Enterprises, last update frozen the day of the picnic. The few interviews he landed ended the moment they Googled his name. Termination for cause followed him like a scarlet letter. Mom took the evening shift at Starbucks on Dale Mabry, green apron over the same sundresses she used to wear to brunch. I saw her once through the drive-through window, hair in a messy bun, smile painted on for customers who had no idea she once drove a $65,000 SUV. She handed over a frappuccino with whipped cream shaped like a heart and never looked up. Noah bounced between oil change shops, paycheck to paycheck, credit score in the low 500s. The collector policy insurance lapsed. The Mustang was impounded for unpaid tickets. He moved back into the house after the bank scheduled foreclosure, sleeping on the couch because his old room had become storage for boxes labeled "Kitchen Do Not Open." I transferred to NYU on a fresh scholarship. Gregory pushed through the board, plus every dollar of restitution wired directly to a new account in my name only. No cosigners, no parent access, no loopholes. The house finally sold at auction for half what they owed. The moving truck came on a Tuesday. I wasn't there to watch, but Lauren sent a photo, Dad loading a single duffel bag into a 10-year-old Corolla, Mom carrying a cardboard box of photo albums, Noah hauling a flat screen that probably wasn't paid off. By fall, the foreclosure sign came down, replaced by a young couple with a baby stroller and a golden retriever. They painted the front door teal. Life moved on. I was unpacking in my Washington Square dorm when the email pinged. Subject: restitution, complete. Walsh Foundation. Body: final payment wired. Account balance 0. All restrictions lifted on Skylar Brooks only. Congratulations on your new beginning. I stared at the screen until the words blurred. No interest charges. No collection calls. No more looking over my shoulder. I closed the laptop, opened the window, and let the city noise rush in: horn sirens, someone laughing on the fire escape below. Real life. My life. The past was paid in full. The future was finally mine. 24 months later, I walked across the NYU stage in Washington Square Park, black gown flapping in the spring breeze, diploma heavy in my hand. The announcer called my new legal name loud and clear: Skylar Walsh. No Brooks attached. The courthouse in Orlando had made it official 6 weeks earlier: $200 and 30 minutes to erase a surname that never belonged to me. I scanned the sea of families waving signs and popping champagne. One section stood out. Gregory rose first in a navy suit, clapping slow and deliberate. Beside him, Patricia Walsh, his mother, elegant white hair, pinned back pearls catching the sun, stood, two gloved hands coming together with quiet pride. Only 2 people in the entire arena. No empty seats saved, no texts ignored, no fake smiles. They were the only ones who showed up. After the ceremony, Gregory met me at the bottom of the steps, envelope in hand. Starting Monday, he said, $140,000 a year, full benefits, corner office on the 32nd floor. You earned it. I took the offer letter, crisp paper still warm from his pocket. Thank you, Gregory. Patricia hugged me next, Chanel perfume and soft cashmere. You kept your promise, sweetheart. Now keep mine, never settle for less than you deserve. I pulled back, eyes stinging. I blocked every number the day the judge signed the papers. Haven't heard a word since. Good, she whispered. Some doors aren't meant to reopen. We walked to the park exit together, Gregory carrying my cap, Patricia linking her arm through mine as if we'd done this 100 times. Cameras flashed from classmates, but no one asked who they were. They didn't need to. The absence of anyone else said everything. Later that night, I sat on my fire escape, city lights flickering below, phone open to the blocked list. Dennis, Melanie, Noah. 27 attempts from unknown numbers I never answered. I deleted the list entirely, then changed my number for the 3rd and final time. Gregory had taught me justice. Patricia had taught me grace. Together, they showed me that family isn't a name on a birth certificate. It's the people who show up when the cameras are off and the money is gone. Scholarships aren't gifts for people who need cash today. They're investments in futures that haven't been stolen yet. If your family ever tried to trade your tomorrow for their today, know this: you don't owe them a second chance. You owe yourself the life they almost took. Blood doesn't buy loyalty. Choices do. And I chose me. I looked down at the new ID in my wallet. Skylar Walsh, no middle name, no hyphen, no trace of the past. The city roared beneath me, alive and waiting. I was finally free. Skylar looked across the crowd one last time. Only Gregory and Patricia stood applauding, the only 2 who ever truly had her back. No one else remained to carry the Brooks name in her story.